Oh, you're muted.
I am muted. I thought it used to be automatic that I would be unmuted. But anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. Good afternoon, good evening, and all that other jazz. How are you doing, Kira?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. Just coming off that men's quarterfinal. And of course, we've got a women's semi-final now to focus on. How do you feel about that sort of switch and dynamic that we have one side of the tour, if you like, is on a quarterfinal while the other is on a semi-final? And we've had it throughout rounds 2 and 3 and all the rest of it. But I don't know. What do you think? Does it bother you?
I'm not a fan, but I feel like that's more just because I'm not very good at following it. So maybe I'm not the right person to ask, but I find it really difficult to
me too. Me too.
follow both sides.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like that. It's also a thought. I'm sure it could easily be tweaked that we can have both sides at the same stage.
It felt like the Indian Wells schedule worked quite well. I believe
there's a lot of tournaments do. I mean, there's a lot of tournaments that don't. I think maybe in the past, I'm not sure if it happened last year or not, but I think Madrid might have been out of sync either last year or 1 year. Anyway, regarding this match in front of us right now, what are your thoughts on Azarenka against Rybakina?
I think it's hard to see past Rybakina in this matchup, to be honest, for me. I do think Azarenka brought some brilliant tennis to the third set against Putintseva the other day. But I just think Rybakina's form coming into this match is really solid in Miami. I think her game will probably trouble Azarenka, so I'm going with a Rybakina win today.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, only thing was there was a bit of a movement issue. I felt at 1 or 2 moments in Rybakina's win over Sakkari. Of course, it went 3 sets. It was very close. Sakkari saving match points before eventually going down in 3. But if that's okay, I mean, they focused a bit on an ankle like strapping stroke plaster. It was sort of in the midpoint there. By the way, she saved 3 break points here, Azarenka, so she's got to have a big hole there. Where are you at in terms of your stream?
It seems to be the same as what's on the scoreboard.
I thought you might be. Yeah, mine's a little behind the scoreboard, but that's not part of the course. So you will be a point or so in front of me, but that's by the by. As for Azarenka, I know she's had some great flashes, particularly in terms of results. Semi-final in Australia last year, semi-final here as well. We've seen her, I think it's 4-0 head-to-head with Ostapenko, is it?
I think so.
And we've seen some runs. I still think, though, I can see that she's not quite as dynamic as she once was. Now, there'll be some know-how that she'll have now that she didn't have 10 years ago. But I don't know. For me, sometimes I just see balls fly past her that I think she might have got a racket on. But that could be just my mind playing tricks on me. But we'll certainly have that put to the test today anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Against somebody like Rybakina who just hits it so cleanly and finds those lines and finds the space, it will be interesting to see how Azarenka's sort of, I suppose, fitness, as it were, measures up.
I've just seen the point that she was shaking her head at, by the way, in terms of the ball landing on the line.
Oh, yeah. But she's done well. She faced another break point then, and she's saved it. So
exactly, yeah.
That is the sort of thing that I think she's so good at, though, is when she's down or she's in a tight spot, she does sort of find a way to dig in.
I mean, experience must help her no end there. I mean, Rybakina, by the way, is obviously building quite a good resume of both experience and being clutch, whether that be Wimbledon or Australia. I mean, I know she lost that Australian Open final, but she's building quite the resume now, Rybakina.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was distracted by a lovely forehand down the line that you'll see in a second from Rybakina.
I was going to say from Rybakina, okay. This first game already is turning into a bit of an epic.
Yeah, if this is this is an indication of the rest of the match. Sorry, how often do people say that? I get so annoyed with them people saying that. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, Rybakina, if she brings it, as it was kind of like that against Maria as well.
Yeah.
She brings it. She's kind of, yeah, she's not kind of. She is the favourite for the tournament, but whether she can bring it is obviously the big question. Yeah, I've just seen that lovely smooth. It wasn't even like hit with great velocity. It was just
No.
such precision, low over the net, and that was that.
Especially when I watch Rybakina play without the sound on.
Uh-huh.
She makes it look so effortless. Without any sound,
Okay.
especially, it just looks like she's just guiding the ball where she wants it.
Yeah, and I've got my sound down, and that's exactly how it looked.
Mm. You've just come off the men's quarter, right? You're
Yeah,
you're
Zverev,
binge.
Marozsan. Yeah, not a lot to report, other than I thought Jamie put it quite well at the end of the match. Basically, that we needed something to happen in that Zverev had to have an off day, or Marozsan had to have like one of his Rome days, if you like,
Hmm.
for the result to go the way of the Hungarian. And we didn't really quite get either. We had a very solid Zverev, no second serve yips, no wildness. Yeah, one loss of temper, if you like, in terms of a little bit of disagreement with the umpire, but generally very much in control. Unforced errors pretty low, decent amount of controlled but also aggressive tennis. And then on the other side, Marozsan, the drop shot, which is sort of, what he's most famous for, arguably, worked well in the first set, albeit he lost it 6-3. Second set, I think there were 3 occasions when it didn't work. And that's the difference, because he was knocking on the door. I mean, 6-3, 7-5, but it was super close. I mean, he had a deuce on Sasha's serve in the first set when he was just one break down. I say one break down because it was 6-3, and that was actually involved 2 breaks in the end. But he should have put it. I mean, he basically, Zverev was a sitting duck, and he's just got an easy ball to put away, and he puts it in the tram line. He wins that game. They're back on serve. Who knows how that first set goes? Second set, Marozsan had break points. And it was one of those sort of smash and grab situations when he's obviously under pressure because he's serving second, serving at 5-6, and then the break, and therefore the match just comes from nowhere, really.
Yeah. Good hold from Azarenka there for the first game.
Huge.
By the way, back and forth, back and forth. She's done well to keep her serve.
Yeah, huge. Huge, that one. That felt longer than 7 minutes.
Yeah, it did. I didn't see them put the game time up though. How long?
Well, actually, I've just seen it as Azarenka's about to serve, so it might have clicked over to 8 minutes by the time she actually does win the game.
Yeah.
But anyway, a fair few deuces. And then the other semi-finalists, Alexandrova against Danielle Collins. Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to have a surprise finalist. I mean, a surprise is not like, Danielle's been to an Australian Open final not so long ago, and Alexandrova has been sort of knocking at the door, so it's not completely left field. But, at the beginning of the tournament, if you'd have said one of those two is going to be in the final, I think there may have been an eyebrow raised.
Yeah, certainly. No, I think it's enough of a surprise to call it a surprise. But I think it probably promises to be a good match.
I think it's interesting because I'm probably going to make Alexandrova the favorite. And depending on what happens in these two semifinals, I mean, let's just say Azarenka pulls off the mini upset. It wouldn't be the upset of the century, but it would be a mini upset if she beat Rybakina today. And let's say it's Azarenka. If it's Azarenka Collins, I'm favoring Azarenka. If it's Azarenka Alexandrova, I'm favoring Alexandrova.
Okay.
Just I've seen enough of Alexandrova. I've watched both of her matches in recent days against Pegula and Swiatek, and she's got it. She's got it.
Yeah, I only managed to watch it was either the first or the second. I think the second set of the Pegula Alexandrova match, but I was quite impressed. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
pretty
just
good
not so great.
nerve, pretty good nerve. I mean, also even against Igor, I know it was a double break, but you lose one of those breaks as we've seen with Igor this year, and it can get very tight and very different.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she served it out to 15. I think she might have gone love 15 down in that game, but also she was just bringing it, and she brought it again, and yeah, Pegula. I remember at around 4-all in the third set, and normally you would probably favour Jessica in that scenario against anyone outside of the sort of top 4 or 5 players in the world. But I remember thinking, the way they're playing, maybe I'm going Alexandrova, especially as I think I trusted her nerve. Not that I don't trust Jessica's either, but Jessica was just living because of unbelievable defense. Listen, I haven't watched every women's match this year for sure, but honestly, her defense was just out of this world. But it's also how sustainable, is that?
Yeah. No, I know. I think I really love to see Jessie Pegula when she's playing well, but I sort of find myself not necessarily before a Pegula match. I don't necessarily trust her to win it in the same way that I do
Yeah,
a lot of players, if that makes sense. Like I
absolutely.
always think an upset could be on the cards with
Yeah,
her in a different way.
yeah. Yep, I felt the same with Jessica probably gradually as 2023 wore on, and then also 2024.
Exactly.
That's the case. I think I'd have to think about, and I'd have to look at the calendar and the stats. But for me, 2022 was where she was at her most solid.
Mm.
I think she
And
might.
if I picture sort of her in a tournament, let's say, and sometimes you get somebody unexpected sort of storming through a tournament, getting rid of people you don't expect them to, and then they come up against Pegula. I would normally, with most top players, think, oh, that's where that run comes to an end. But with
Yeah,
Pegula, I sort of think that's an upset that they can then go on to carry
to
on
back
their run,
up.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it might have been Jimmy Connors either recently or he was repeating what he said in the past. And it was something along the lines of, listen, shocks happen, blah, 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 blah. But it's all about backing it up. And almost no one ever backs it up. I don't know if he highlighted Marajan in Rome last year, but he could easily have done so and so on and so forth. But once Alexandrova, it's not a huge shock. She's, seeded 14 and a top 20 player. But yeah, you did think, I certainly thought, Pegula won the first set, hats off to her. But like I say, and on top of that, and talking of nerve, and I think it's one of those most difficult things to do as a nervy moment in tennis is when your opponent is just defending and defending so well, and you put one smash away and it doesn't work. You put one drive volley away and it doesn't work. It gets harder with each one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yet she was just, nope, it's okay. She's kept her head. Okay, you're defending unbelievably, but if I keep doing this for 3 or 4 more shots, you're not going to win the point. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
2-1 anyway, Azarenka. That was a fairly unremarkable hold in the end. Hence, I didn't bring our attention back to it.
Yeah.
To 15.
Same with the Rybakina service game, really.
And so Collins, Alexandrov, of course, I've been bigging up Alexandrov. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on Danielle or that match in general.
Oh yeah, I'll take a turn bringing up Danielle. I've enjoyed watching her this tournament so much. There's something about her that I really enjoy. I love her tennis, number one, because I think it's fearless, and I love that. I think it's so great to watch. Whether she wins or loses, I think that's fun to watch. And I really love, I think in terms of just her, I just love the fact that I don't think she cares at all what anyone thinks of her. I don't think anything phases her in that way. I think she's so sort of I'm just going to do what I want to do and I don't care. And I really respect that. So I love watching her. I would love to see her in the final of this.
Me too.
I'd love to get a win on tour on her last year. I think
it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. Yeah. I generally don't have a favorite on the women's tour. I do by proxy, but that's because what I'll do is I'll see Ons Jabeur's been in 3 Grand Slam finals and hasn't been able to get over the line, you know. So of course, if Hans is in a Wimbledon final against anyone, you know, it could be my sister who suddenly turned pro and was in the Wimbledon final for whatever random reason. And I'll still say, sorry, Claire, move over. This is on today. Don't get in the way. Although the way Ons unfortunately played in the final last year, I might just, if someone just whispered in my sister's ear just to get as many balls in play, it might be enough for her to go alone. But of course I don't. But you know what I mean? So again, when I look at this Final Four, I've come across Elena on 1 or 2 occasions, and she's always been very pleasant. Danielle, I mean, actually, I'm going to extol the virtues of Danielle, but Alexandrova, I think I may have, I'm not sure she was in Berlin last year. I feel as though she might have been in the press conference with her. Danielle Collins, I've actually done a 1-to-1 interview with her, albeit for sort of just 6 or 7 minutes, but amazing, great. Yeah. Azarenka, I don't think I have, but again, she seems very nice. But yeah, Danielle, it's the one of the 4. Alexandrova, her day will come. There's no doubt about that.
Yes,
Azarenka
exactly.
and Rybakina have had unbelievable careers and may only enhance that as the years go ahead, albeit that probably Elena has a few more of them than Vika. But we know it's Danielle's last year, so
exactly. Hard not to root for her in a certain way.
yeah.
But I do think it's a nice 4, like you say. It's a nice 4 to enjoy.
I do fear though that Danielle might not quite have it. That, you know, as you say, she can play lights out tennis. Unbelievable. Oh, I see Vika there upset because there's a ball that's landed about 1 millimeter in.
That was so close. It was unbelievably close.
But yeah, I don't know. I saw Danielle's win against Garcia, and on paper, 6-3, 6-2, I think it was. That's like, wow, that's a very impressive match. If you watched it, Danielle played well. Garcia had one of those return days that she can have, and not as solid as I think she can be on the serve. And I don't know to what extent this shoulder issue that she's been getting treatment for had an effect on that.
Yeah.
Because her serve was off, and of course shoulder, you know.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I struggle with the shoulder thing just because, you know, she was struggling with the shoulder thing in the 2 matches previous and won those really comfortably. So it was sort of, I don't know. I do know what you mean. It did look, the serve looked different, definitely, in this match. So that could definitely be a factor. But I do think Danielle brought what she had to that, and she's got more to give. But whether she's got enough for Alexandrova at the moment, I'm the same. I'm not confident.
Yeah. So probably, as you can tell, I'm going for Rybakina Alexandrova final. That's the head saying that rather than the heart.
Yeah.
I hope we can have some exciting matches, semis and final. We'll see. Yeah, Rybakina. I think Rybakina Alexandrova could well deliver.
That couldn't it? Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I think that could definitely be a good final.
Now we're looking at a couple of comfortable holds after that very lengthy first game that Azarenka had, and a potentially another comfortable hold here for Vika. What have you made of the tournament as a whole? We've had a few little hiccups. We had of course, the match that you were on the other day and had a big hiccup with the
oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah. We obviously had the rain and the wind. We had a moment in the Zverev match as well where Zverev was upset because he paused on his serve because of the wind and then got a time violation. And but of course we had a few other things. We had the Casper Ruud, very politely, as you put it the other day, complaints about some of the organization. Yeah, what have you made the tournament as a whole anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it. I think we've had some good matches. I think, you know, it's always a factor when you've got Indian Wells and Miami so close together and such, big tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
You're naturally going to compare them, or I
Mm-hmm.
am anyway. And I just think, I don't know what it was about it, but I found Indian Wells so compelling last week. I thought there were so many storylines, so many interests, so many great matches on both sides, men and women. And I haven't felt quite as drawn in by Miami, if I'm honest. But I don't really know why. I don't really know why. I don't know if
I find that Miami suffers because it's the second one. That's the main thing. There are one or two other factors to throw in. That Indian Wells comes in this sort of 6-week gap, I guess, after Australia. And bearing in mind now how thick and fast the 1000s come, we've obviously on the men's side, we've got Monte Carlo to come, and across the clay season, we have 3 men's 1000s and 2 or 3 women's. I can't think of a third women's one on the clay. So, but we've certainly got 2 in the shape of Madrid and Rome. So that's kind of those 2 things are huge for me. And you basically there's a day difference from Indian Wells finishing and Miami beginning. So it's not even like you have a week, if you like.
No.
So I think that's the principal reason. There may be some other sort of things aesthetically when we're watching. Certainly, if you're visiting, I think as well that it's kind of nice. I mean, I know myself. I was in Rio recently, and to a lesser extent Buenos Aires, in how they, when you're there and you are looking at the backdrop that these things have, and obviously Surfers Paradise and all the rest of it, or Tennis Paradise. Sorry, not Surfers Paradise. There's something different. That's in Australia as well, and it's on the coast, of course. But yeah, you know what I mean. Tennis Paradise, and we're even just watching on TV, you see it, and yeah. So I think Miami does suffer for all of those reasons.
Yeah, absolutely, and not not to the point where I'm not enjoying the tennis. I think there's been some great matches, and I have absolutely enjoyed Miami. But I think it's just like you say, just a different feel, or like Casper might say, different tournament.
Different tournament, plastic seats and no towels and all
No towels.
Yeah. Well, Casper, along with 1 or 2 others as well that have been at this tournament, from my side, they will all be in Estoril, because when you're going to a tournament and there's a tournament like Miami's happening. I mean, basically what I'm saying is if Casper gets to the final of Miami, he's probably pulling out of Estoril. If Hubie Hurkacz gets to the final of Miami and so on and so forth, Artur Fils as another name, and he went out early in Miami. So from Estoril's point of view, that's good news. And fingers crossed, Dominic Thiem can stay fit.
Yeah. You hope so, don't you? He's put out that video. Was that today or yesterday?
Yesterday, I think it was.
Yesterday, talking about his wrist, I believe.
Yeah, which was the injury he had a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. But the thing with Dominic that's probably the most is particularly jarring is that this 2-year struggle, if you like, for just to find form. If you're a fan of his, you can't even punctuate it or explain it by injuries, because he's been saying for the last 2 years, no, I'm okay. I mean, obviously right now he's not, but
yeah,
it's not like, I mean, the well is running dry, if you like. The case is running dry in that with Felix, for example, it probably got to sort of the end of last year, and I know people were saying, but he's been struggling with injuries, and this could be a reason why he's been through the doldrums at various points in 2023. But then that there is a point, if you like, when that sort of runs out, if you like, that once it gets to 18 months, 2 years, and the players saying, no, I feel fine, and they're entering tournaments left, right, and center. That reasoning, if you like, which is coming from us, from me, but the media and even fans as well, it sort of gets to the point with, okay, it's no longer that. It's actually something, a wider malaise.
Yeah, just quickly, Azarenka's got 2 break points here on the Rybakina serve.
Okay, thank you.
On my screen. It's quite a nice sort of slice drop shot, which Rybakina should be able. She gets to it, but just puts it wide.
So one of the break points has come and gone.
Yeah, that was a Rybakina ace, as you might expect.
Yeah, she did that a lot against Sakkari. I felt bad for Sakkari in that there would be a chink of light from Maria, and then it would the door would just get slammed shut by just either an ace or an unreturnable, or just basically an excellent serve, putting her in charge of the point. By the way, the point that preceded it, the one that gave Vika the break points, was a club player would be a little disappointed with how it ended, put it that way, in that Azarenka did something almost inexplicable with that little dink into the tram line.
Yeah. The second ace to save the second break point.
Yeah.
To get it to juice. Make that a third ace.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's the thing that she has in her locker, that
exactly.
Even Sabalenka, who's when she's on her day is probably a match for Rybakina in terms of speed and precision on the serve, but we just know that it's not quite as consistent as Elena.
No.
I mean, that's sort of Novak-esque in that, we see Novak go down a break point and then he pulls out an amazing serve and you're like, there you go, Novak.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Yannick Sinner is really adding that to his game. I feel like this year, and only this year really, I can't really remember it last year, but this year I feel like he goes break point down. I always just picture him hitting an ace and unreturned, whatever it is. But he seems to be really using the serve in the difficult moments.
I mean, I would personally, in these big occasions, or maybe even not quite super big, but even like round 3 or whatever in Miami, but if I'm 15-30 down, I would start to get a bit nervy. And I heard Carlos mention it in an Indian Wells press conference that actually he did start to feel it in this sort of 6-month period, that it was when he would just be in a sticky moment, 3-all in the third set, 15-30, or, love 30 at 5-6. And we as fans, if you're like, oh, this must be incredibly tense for the player right now, and somehow they pull through it. But he admitted that he did get quite nervy in the last sort of few months, whereas that wasn't the case before.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get some water. I'll be back.
No worries. Azarenka with the ace now. They're trading them. Goes on T but misses. Missed an Azarenka ace, or probably haven't actually.
Oh, I'm going to see it, yeah. So both players have had some break points already. All of Rybakina's came in the first game. Azarenka's just seen 2 come and go.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how close Rybakina is to Coco in the points. As in, I'm looking at Rybakina as 4 in the world. I wonder if she can usurp. Oh well, so Rybakina lost the final last year, so she's got a few hundred points potentially to gain anyway. How many points difference is there? Do you know?
It looks here like it's 1,300 roughly.
Ah, okay. That's too big then.
Yeah.
Yeah, she lost the final to Pliskova. Was it last year, the final?
Kvitova.
Kvitova, sorry, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah. Little bit of a surprise. No, I mean maybe we dismissed, or I dismissed Kvitova a little bit too easily looking back. But having won in Indian Wells, and having got to the final, sometimes we see players run out of steam. Back-to-back tournaments. Doesn't matter if it's a 250 or 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Australia in particular. There's like often 250s in that week before Australia that most of the big players don't play. But if you're someone a bit lower down the rankings and you want to pick up a tournament, for example, and you get to the final there where you win it, and then 48 hours later you're playing the first round in Australia, and everyone's going, oh, they've just won New Zealand or they've just won X tournament and they're going to be a threat, and then suddenly they're out before you know it. And I'm thinking about Kokkinakis a couple of years ago, Karatsev as well. Not the year that Karatsev got to the semis, but I think both Dan Evans maybe as well had either got to a final or won a 250, and then they were gone.
Yeah, it happens often, doesn't it?
And then with these two back-to-back 1000s, I know you've got a lengthy break, but in terms of you probably play on the Sunday if you got to the final, and then maybe not until the Friday of the following week. But yeah, sometimes it catches up with you. So once Rybakina had managed to get to the final, it was like, oh, okay, well, she's here now. But she wasn't able to get over the line.
No, I remember the match vaguely. I quite like Kvitova, so I watched quite a lot of Kvitova. And I remember, I think I remember, if I'm getting the right match anyway, thinking quite early on, before the match, I was thinking, yeah, Rybakina's probably going to get the double here. And then thinking quite early on, seeing how she was playing, actually, no, this was going to be more complicated than I had thought.
Yeah.
It was 2 sets, wasn't it,
I think it was, yeah. Break point here for Rybakina, right?
Yeah, on my screen. And she gets the second serve to look at. Rybakina hooks her forehand wide to send it back to deuce.
The previous point was a pretty epic one that had finished with a lovely forehand cross-court winner from Elena. But anyway, back to deuce, as you say.
She does seem to get, I think, more frustrated with herself, or more outwardly frustrated with herself than I think she did previously. Elena.
Elena.
No, okay. Even. I think, obviously, we all. Well, I assume you've seen the. I wouldn't call it a racket smash, but sort of throwing the racket on the floor from Elena the other day.
Yeah. It was a throw on the floor, wasn't it? Yeah. I think Pegula might have had a similar moment yesterday. I'm just trying to think, but I could be getting confused with Elena. I remember seeing somebody. It wasn't a racket smash, and it was a throw on the floor, and the that tension thing that people sometimes have. Not every player has it in the racket, and I just remember seeing that fly off.
Yeah, I don't know if that did on Elena's one.
So it might have been Jessica yesterday then.
Yeah,
it wasn't massive. It was a throw at the floor. I saw a few as well from or at least one from probably the match you were commentating on. Who was
Putintseva.
Yeah, Putintseva. Oh, by the way, something's happened.
Yes, she's just broken. Rybakina 4-3 for a lead.
First blood to the Wimbledon 2022 champion.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a scrappy break. I wouldn't necessarily say that she sort of raised her level to do it or anything. I think maybe Azarenka had a trickier service game, but
double fault there just before.
Exactly. But gets the break either way.
So Elena now very much in charge of this first set. Yeah, and there was a sort of, it's one of those ones that you could say was a forced error. I might lean towards that. I mean, these forced errors and unforced errors, etc., are actually just a human being just making a decision.
Deciding.
Yeah, right. And that one, and often, of course, you don't get a lot of time to decide. Maybe at the end of the game, you might get a bit more time. They can probably watch it maybe 2 or 3 times, but I would want to see that 2 or 3 times before deciding.
To decide, yeah.
Yeah, it's just difficult. It's just difficult. It was a low bounce. It was really deep. You know, she's hugging the baseline. If she gets that back in play, and she gets it back in play and doesn't give Rybakina a simple short ball, you go, wow,
Yeah.
that's one of those ones that you're watching and you go, wow, that's why they're professionals, you know?
Yeah.
When she puts it into the net like that, I'm feeling as though I would, which would be like, yeah, that's such a tough ball to, you know, do anything with. It's not like when they've gone big and they've just messed up.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's obviously an unforced error, but yeah. I know Vanch of this parish, or occasionally of this parish, has done the forced errors and unforced errors, etc. Tally. I also know a guy called Carlos who's been on this show once or twice before. I met him in Madrid last year, and he was doing exactly that job in Madrid.
Fun job, but I imagine quite a little bit stressful. I find that a bit stressful.
Yeah, as I say, I'm sure you don't have much time to make a call. You just have to.
Exactly.
You just have to make a call on that, and now having chatted about it for a minute or two, I'm just thinking, yeah, maybe I'm forced because she's a professional and I'm not. You know, I'm saying it like I would find that super, super difficult. But
She is Azarenka. Yeah.
yeah, she's Viktoria Azarenka, yeah. What's Iga's next tournament? Is it Stuttgart? She's not playing Charleston, I don't think.
No. I imagine it would be Stuttgart. I don't know for definite, but I'd have thought so.
It does feel quite a while away though, because I'm just thinking about the men's tour with Estoril next week, and then there's 2 happening in the US. One is happening in Houston, and I think that's ATP, and the other one's Charleston, which I think is WTA.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if all 3 tournaments are next week. Maybe there's Charleston, which I think is the WTA. Maybe that happens the same week as Monte Carlo. Anyway,
yeah, that seems to be April 1st.
What's Charleston's April the 1st? Yeah. So I think
That is Monday, isn't it?
Oh yeah, so it is. And that's so Charleston and Houston is both next week for both. But I know Iga's not playing that. Let me just check.
No, Stuttgart is 2 weeks later, April 15th.
Yeah, right. Let me just have a quick.
That is a bit of a gap.
There's a bit of a gap, but she might not be playing until then. I know the Stuttgart and Barcelona are the same week. Marrakesh, maybe? What we got there? Okay, so Charleston, yeah, is the 1st. So Charleston, yeah, is the same week. Yeah, next week we've got a 250 in Colombia, in Bogota. I nearly said in Zurich. It just happens to be sponsored by Zurich. Very confusing. But yeah, we've got one in Bogota, 250. I vaguely remember Tatiana Maria winning that last year, and a 125 in Spain. So it's I see that all on the 1st actually. So
yeah.
Okay, we've got. Yeah, so that's all next week. Yeah, so that's all next week. I keep thinking, yeah. And then there is no tournament, if I'm right, in looking at this on the main tour between the 7th and the 15th. There's actually a whole week without women's tennis.
That's what it says, yeah. That feels
Which will
wrong.
It does, yeah. So there'll be it'll be all Monte Carlo or bust in terms of the tennis as a broader sphere. And
I'm a big Monte Carlo fan though, so I do like to be able to focus on Monte Carlo.
Again, the aesthetics there are pretty pleasing, right?
I think that's probably a massive part of it for me. It's probably the one that I'm most desperate to go to myself.
So it'll be pretty much a 3-week break, and bearing in mind that Iga went out earlier this week in Miami. That she'll have. It's nice. It gives you the tennis. Then after Stuttgart comes thick and fast, of course. So
yeah, you might need a 3-week break. I don't know when that'll happen again.
Yeah, right. And especially as I expect it to go deep, probably. Yeah, no, I mean I expect it to go deep, but not beyond expect. I'd be shocked if she doesn't go deep in Stuttgart, Madrid, Rome, Paris.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Stuttgart field, probably because of this lengthy gap, it's like 7 of the top 10 are there.
Packed.
And there's the other tournaments that week are a 250 in France and a 125 in Portugal. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's probably that Porsche draws them all in.
Yeah. So I'm watching Rybakina here have a slightly sticky service game.
Azarenka did have a break point that's come and gone. But
game point for Rybakina.
Rare. Was that no, it was a let. I thought that was a double fault.
So if you could go to any tournament in the world, all paid and sorted for you, is Monte Carlo there, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it would be actually. Although then you only get the men's, don't you? And if I'm getting it all paid, I want to see a bit more.
Of course.
So if I'm getting it all paid, actually, I think I'd go Australian Open.
Fair enough.
But Monte Carlo is probably the one that I feel I could actually go and be at some point, and it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
I'm probably going Indian Wells for a few different reasons. I've been to plenty of the tour. I mean, I have a real soft spot for Estoril. But I've done it before, and as you say, if you're going to get all paid and stuff, I probably would go Indian Wells.
No, that's a very good shout. Estoril, that's a start on Monday as well, right? That is.
First round Monday. Yeah.
Very exciting.
I think qualifying is Saturday, draw Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It could be qualifying Saturday and Sunday, but there's definitely qualifiers happening on Saturday. At least for now, and things can change, but probably won't. It's the last time that Estoril will be on the main tour. At least it's not scheduled to be on the 2025 tour.
No, of course, yeah.
It's a pity.
I'm glad you agree with me, Breakaway. I do think Monte Carlo would be really, really cool. I have been there before, but not while the tennis was on. So I'd like to go again with the tennis on.
I've never been. Given how expensive, though, insanely expensive, I think Monte Carlo could be. That all expenses paid certainly gives it a tick.
Yeah, exactly.
Azarenka here serving to stay in the first set, but she's doing okay at the moment.
Yeah. I don't think Azarenka's done too much wrong in this first set. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah.
I don't think she's really made too many errors or anything like that. I think Rybakina is just the better player.
Yep. I think both are bringing a half decent level, and that if they're both being in that level right now, and what we've seen in the last couple of years, that does mean Rybakina's likely to win. A couple of game points here for Azarenka. Breakaway, by the way, I have got a question for you. We'll just wonder where you're tuning in from. Maybe you're based in Europe. Sometimes we can guess where people are tuning in from, or at least which part of the world they might be in, just because of the time of day. But we've got a few North Americans, obviously, that can tune in right now. And even, I guess it would be unusual to get someone in Asia, because it would probably be like 3 or 4 in the morning there. But Australians are just waking up, I guess. Oh, you're based in Texas. Nice. Probably it feels familiar. Maybe you've told me that before. Yeah, I love it.
I've never been to America in any capacity, so Indian Wells.
Again, personal things. It's like when I asked you the question, I was thinking you can't say Wimbledon because you've been there before. It's on your doorstep. It's on your doorstep. You know.
Exactly.
You know, all expenses paid might be a train, because you're like, well, I could just stay at home. But yeah, it's also, I think, part of the reason why, you know, just aside from that, if you ask me the 4 slams, which I've been to, fortunately, my preferred one is New York or the US Open, because it's kind of an adventure. It's a lengthy flight. It's something new. It's quite a good time of the year, in my opinion, to sort of visit. And I like the French Open, I like Wimbledon, but it's just they're both on my doorstep. They both feel as though, yeah, I can go there any time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, as much as I like Wimbledon, I couldn't say.
Not the way I framed the question, no.
No, exactly. But I do love Wimbledon. And at the moment, with no tickets, I would take an all expenses paid trip to Wimbledon.
Are you going to do the queue, do you think?
I'm starting to think I might have to, yeah. I think so. I don't think I can do a camping queue. That's
no.
For me, but
an early start queue.
An early start queue, I think, is going to have to be.
I'm just a point behind also, although I have seen the fact that Azarenka held, but she does seem to be a bit upset about something.
Yeah, I was just trying to watch her, what she was trying to say there, but I've not really got it. The umpire doesn't seem to replying to her, so I don't
Ignore what's
going on.
La.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a disappointing forehand there from Rybakina that helped Azarenka hold. Yeah, I've seen her remonstrating there with the umpire quite a bit.
It's funny though, because I always think there's certain players who can have a bit of a argy-bargy with the umpire and it doesn't affect their focus at all. It doesn't get in their way. And then there's some that you see where if they lose their head even the slightest bit, the call, whatever, you see their game slowly sort of trickle away from them.
Rublev and Djokovic are the 2 that spring to mind.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much guess which category they both fall into.
Which is which.
Yeah.
Djokovic is a rare breed though, because for some of them it's like, oh, it doesn't really affect their game, they just carry on. But Djokovic, it's like it spurs him on. He's like he raises his level immediately.
It's something that's been highlighted this year. It's difficult to put a finger on exactly, you know, what's happening with Novak this year, and there's so little. There's just 3 results really, and even the De Minaur one we're probably not focusing on too much. You know, there's 3 results or 2 results and maybe a couple of other performances, and we're trying to put string the dots together, so to speak. But one of those things has been that we haven't seen this anger and the roaring and the shouting as much this year as we probably have done in other years. And you know, when he won the 3rd set against Yannick, it was highlighted by a guy I was interviewing, Steve Flink, an American journalist, in the aftermath, I think, of that match. And I tended to agree with him. It's a bit unusual to see Novak win that 3rd set, to get him really back in the match, if you like, and just a sort of nonchalant response to that. And again, it felt a bit tame as well against Lucanardi in Indian Wells. So 3 set points here for Elena Rybakina.
Yeah, I was just behind there. I was just watching, but she's served an ace and an unreturned serve in this game. So her serving has been really good. I think. I still think her ground strokes haven't been at the top level of what she can do, but it's been good enough. So
just tell us what's happening because you're a point ahead of me.
Yeah, just another unreturned serve on set point to take the first set.
So there you go. And I think I'd agree with you. I think the serving has been on just about, but a few of the ground strokes have been a bit off, but it's been enough to help her win the first set with just that one break of serve. Of course, she did knock at the door heavily in the first game, but she wasn't able to get the break then. But she did pick it up later on. And Azarenka had a couple of break points as well, largely because of some off shots again from Rybakina. But again, it was her serve that got her out of trouble. From 15-40, I think she won 3 next points with 3 aces and then an unreturnable, something like that.
Yeah, that was it.
And that was enough really for her to hold serve and then get the break. So Elena Rybakina wins the first set 6-4. So a little bit of an uphill task now for Azarenka. It felt like it was uphill anyway.
Yeah. I don't think she should feel out of it. I'm sure she wouldn't anyway, but I don't think she should feel out of it yet. I don't think...
If Azarenka can... Because Azarenka's got a gear. There is a gear for Azarenka to go up.
Yes, exactly. So if she can do that, that could cause Rybakina some trouble. Do you think, just going back to Djokovic quickly, I'd love to ask you, obviously, you know, he's parted ways with Goran now. And we saw in a match where he was saying to his team, you know, essentially, you're not supporting me, you're rubbish, whatever it was. Obviously, I think they've sort of parted ways relatively amicably from what we've seen. But maybe, like you said, we're like missing that fire from him. Is that maybe what he needs in a coach that is coming in for him? That sort of like big support that he maybe doesn't get from Goran.
I don't know if that's the specific reason, but one thing I think is pretty certain is this is based on what we're seeing on the court. You know, whether that's even a mutual decision. It feels like it's Novak's call more than Goran's. Novak is the person who puts the statement out. Novak is the one who's controlled the narrative. That may be because he's the world number 1 and 24-time Grand Slam champion. But it feels like a bit more. It could have been a mutual decision, but again, I would have expected to have seen that in the statements. You know, this is a mutual decision. We've decided to part company, but we still love each other. Blah blah blah. However, this is almost certain a results-based decision as well. In that he wins Australia, he wins Indian Wells.
Is he getting rid of
Goran in that situation? So it's clearly something that one or both have felt that's not quite working in the last few months. You know, possibly from the ATP Tour Finals onwards, if you like. Obviously, he won that in incredible style. So yeah, and it just might be that maybe both, but Novak in particular, he feels like he needs another voice, some change, because at the moment it does feel like Novak's drifting a little bit through some of these matches. That you would have thought that 1 set all against he loses the first set. There's the fallout at the frozen, the Lucanardi sort of maybe slightly pausing during a point, and then Novak gets broken. He's annoyed. He has a fallout with the umpire, but then he goes and breaks anyway and wins that set. So it almost didn't matter in terms of that set. And you think, okay, that he's now dialed in now. But again, a little bit passive in the third set, loses the match, and you're like, well, if that's a one-off, and they even in incredible years that Novak has had, those one-off results and moments will happen. But of course, that's obviously thrown into the passive, again, I'm using that word against Sinner sort of performance. There were some suggestions that he might have been a little bit sick. Again, a one-off. You don't think too much of it. He has an off day. He was feeling a bit physically under weather. Sinner's the best player in the world right now. That happens. But then you throw in the De Minaur loss. the loss at the Davis Cup as well, albeit that Goran's not by his side in that moment. But then you also throw in some of the performances, maybe in Australia, dropping a set to, I'm going to get Prismic, thank you, yeah. So, again, Taylor Fritz's performance, actually at the time, I thought Taylor played probably one of his best matches, certainly against Novak, but an amazing performance from Taylor. But it was much closer than a lot of the other matches have been. You just start adding, if you like, to this. I thought his United Cup performances weren't quite on it anyway, but then there was the elbow issue, or the wrist issue. So I guess that's my broad response. Is it specifically that I think he just needs some sort of injection.
Yeah, I don't mean necessarily like specifically the support on the thing, but that just in general something different. I can see why. I mean, I was still quite shocked by it, but I can see why he would want a different sort of a change of pace, I suppose.
In least relevant news of the day, maybe even of the century, Alexander Zverev is running late for his press conference. But it's almost irrelevant. I'm just aware of it. But it doesn't make any difference because I'm not there. And nor is Anastasia, nor is anyone from this community. But and presumably nobody tuning in is on the way to the press conference, I would have thought, but you never know.
You would think.
Yeah.
You'd hope, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, the second set has now got underway with Vika Azarenka serving first.
Yeah, she went off the court for the entire break, didn't she? Which she does normally do, from what I can think of at the moment.
Also, in short, regarding the Novak Goran split, I know there's been a lot of emotional responses, if you like, not negative, but all sad and oh wow, this is a changing of the guard or a moment to pause. But I don't see it as having a dramatic. If Novak goes on a tear now and wins Wimbledon and the French Open and Olympic gold, don't think it would have been much different if Goran was there or not. Equally, if he doesn't win a Grand Slam this year, again, I don't think it's because he got rid of Goran.
No, I know what you mean.
He might need a voice on occasions, and Goran's immediate impact is pretty clear in the going up a notch on the serve, but also arriving 2018, 2019, when Novak was probably having the worst 2 years of his of his career, but certainly of his post Novak is here career, as in 2010. Yeah, right. And then Goran comes in and he goes on a tear. So there's a lot to be said there. But probably from that immediate impact, there's probably, does he win 3 Grand Slams with Goran as coach or otherwise? Probably he does last year. There's a lot of things a coach can do. Probably with someone like Novak, that margin that you can play with is almost zero. You might be able to put a few words in his ear on the day of a Grand Slam final. Goran has been there, seen it and done it, so that helps.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I wonder why that's sort of what he probably needs something very different from a coach now than he did when he brought Goran in. He doesn't need him to help him with the serve. He doesn't need what he possibly needed from Goran at the time. So I can see why he might need something different.
Okay, a hold of serve there for Vika. The next step will be interesting. Does Goran come back into the sport with another player? Who does Novak choose? Does Novak just sort of maybe keep the sort of team he's got as it is, or does he employ someone new?
I think he'll probably get someone. If I had to guess, he could probably get someone in. I don't think he's the type to sort of just say, "Oh well, I don't need a coach." I can coach myself. I don't think that's his game, really. Thinking of Nick Kyrgios, obviously.
Oh right, yeah. There's a spark that's missing. It feels like whether that spark would have taken him to an Australian Open title or would have taken him to the Indian Wells final or something like that. Whether that's the only thing, I don't know. But there was probably a slight acceptance of defeat against Yannick and Luca Nardi, which we're not accustomed to with him. Ghosty's here saying, by the way, he's just checking in to see who Danielle Collins is going to be beating in the final. He's a big Danielle Collins.
Love it. No, love it. I'm well aware of Ghosty's Danielle Collins leaning and fully support it. I hope she's in the final as well. Well, no, obviously she'll be in the final. I hope she is. Azarenka definitely upping her level, like we suggested. She's got a bit of a half chance here on the Rybakina serve, love 30.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing about Novak perhaps is, for me, like, whether he's missing the spark or he's just having an off few months or something's wrong with his wrist. I don't know. There's so many things we don't know. Whatever it is, I have zero doubt that at some point, whether it's this year or next year or whatever it is, he will be back winning slams like nobody's business. I don't agree with this. I think it's only a rumbling in some places in the tennis community of always. Has Novak won his last slam? No, no, he hasn't. I really don't think so.
That's a bit of an extreme take, given that he won 3 out of the 4 last year,
Exactly.
Including the second half of the season, where he's also then going on to win the ATP Tour. It's not long ago. It's not long enough. He could not win a slam for another 2 years, but he could, if as long as he's there or thereabouts, then he'll continue to be a threat to winning Grand Slams. It might this spark, by the way, that I do think has been just missing a little bit. Still might not have been enough. We could have seen the best form of Novak against Sinner in that semi-final, and it still might not have been enough because of the way with the way we've seen Sinner perform in the last sort of 6, 7, 8 months. And it still might not have been enough for him to win Indian Wells or even perhaps get to the final, bearing in mind he hasn't played there, I think, since 2019. And, Indian Wells is not a tournament, although he's won it several times. It's not quite on the same level as Australia or 1 or 2 others, Wimbledon, for example, where he's got a huge advantage over the other field and conditions. But it's just the nature of the exits, if you like.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's definitely the nature of it rather than anything else. Just quickly, Azarenka, early break here for 2-love.
There you go.
Really strong on the service game there. I'm really impressed with that. Rybakina did sort of dump a relatively easy forehand in the net to give Azarenka the break point, but overall, I think it was more to do with Azarenka raising her level there.
Mm-hmm. So, is that the twist, or the momentum shift that Vika needs? A consolidation will help.
Yes, I think she really needs the consolidation here.
Yeah, right.
For us to think it's a twist. Yeah, as soon as I said leaning, Ghosty, I knew that wasn't strong enough. But I couldn't think of the right word. But yeah, passion. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Devotion? Are we going that far?
Oh, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Whatever you want. Devotion. I'm going with that.
Bit of an epic battle going on in the doubles, by the way, right now, with Kravitz and Putz against Dodik and Krajicek into a deciding set tiebreak. 8-7 in that deciding set tiebreak as well. Oh,
nice. Yeah, I haven't managed to watch as much doubles as I usually do this week. I've missed it.
It does seem to be. It didn't seem to be as big a feature in Indian Wells as well. Maybe it's because some of the big names that we know have entered there in the past, either they did enter and went out early or didn't enter at all.
Yeah. Did you see the umpire talking to somebody on his radio a second ago?
No, I didn't know.
I
Do we know?
wasn't sure what that was. I don't want to guess,
Oh, an injury scenario?
but it could be I thought it looked a bit like calling the physio for somebody.
Got it. Yeah, I've got a heads up. Fingers crossed it's not Elena and that ankle we touched on, or I touched
Yeah,
on. Yeah, I'm always when the camera zooms in on the umpire and he's got his microphone and
exactly.
you have seen and you did sort of see a nod or something, or you thought you saw a nod from the player, you do sort of fear the worst.
I don't, like I said, I don't want to guess. I am guessing a little bit, but I think it might be Elena. Yeah.
Right. Well, again, Elena is the one who's sort of suffering right now in terms of the scoreboard, and she, I think there was a slight movement issue against Maria that might have just made that match a bit closer than it really was.
Yeah, that was a really easy service game for Azarenka, held to love, and Rybakina just looking at the umpire there, but not saying anything, I don't think.
Okay. So they are now going to sit down. So you're going to get to see this before I do. So if the trainer does come on, let me know.
Yeah, I will do.
But presumably, if she's sitting down now and nothing's happening, then that's okay.
Oh, I thought the ball boy had brought Azarenka something like medicine, and I thought, oh, maybe it's that, but she just brought some hair clips.
Oh, hair clips. Okay, I thought you were going to say the fan. Sometimes during this tournament, I've seen the fan get wheeled out, and I've thought, oh, hang on a second, that's a trainer bringing something, and then it's like after a few seconds, it's like, oh no, it's just someone dumping
Just a fan.
yeah, dumping a fan down. She gave the umpire a glance, which if I was watching this at the same time, I know because you were slightly, you're a little bit ahead of me, but that glance that she gave after what you told me about the walkie-talkie bit as well would have made me think, oh, I can see the is that hair clips? Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
nobody
it does
going
look like
on.
she's getting some sort of. When he gave it to her, I thought she's going to be putting this in her mouth. So to see it,
Exactly. I was sure it was like a tablet or something.
yeah.
No, nobody has come for Rybakina, so they are going back on court, and she's getting ready to serve. So it could all have been for nothing.
Instead of press conference update, he's on his way.
On his way.
So Ghosty, you're gonna have to leave the stream and go and attend that press conference. If you could interview any player not called Iga Swiatek, who would you go for?
I wouldn't necessarily have chosen Iga anyway.
Okay.
Actually,
okay.
She says I probably would have. Let's be honest. No, I'll think about it. If I could interview any player,
I would, if I can have if I can.
Yeah, you go first, please.
Yeah, but also if you can indulge me to a huge extent. So this is not ever going to happen, but
yeah,
I would love to sit down and watch. Maybe not entire matches, but points or moments. Actually, not points in matches with a player or two. I mean, so I would love to be sat down next to Rafa watching, I don't know, Australian Open 2022, the Love 40 moment, and just sort of ask him what the hell is going through your head at this moment. Even just another inflection point in that match.
Sorry, just quickly, my stream's completely vanished, so I'm just gonna
you try and fix that while I continue to
quickly. You carry
on. Even just like during the first set of that particular match, when he's just hanging on, pulling out worldies, almost like Bagula was yesterday, if you like, and just going. And I remember the commentator and me thinking the same. This is just not sustainable. And Medvedev wins that first set 6-2. Yeah, just hone in on a few inflection points of that particular match and ask him what he's thinking. even some of the losses as well. I'm thinking about when he had the 2 break points against Novak in Wimbledon in 2018. And again, you could get Roger as well and sit down and say, and get that 2019 final. And
if you want to be cruel.
yeah, but it's a
No,
maybe,
I get you.
maybe it's a trait of mine. I don't know, but
sorry, I've got my stream back. It just completely.
Rybakina is in big trouble here.
Yeah, and I feel like Azarenka, I don't know how far behind you are, has picked up on a movement issue, like you said about Rybakina, because she's just played a drop shot that was good but not exceptional.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and Rybakina struggled.
Yeah, I saw that.
More than you'd expect.
Let's see how this game pans out before we come back to our dream interviews.
Yes, exactly. 3 break points on for Azarenka on my screen.
Yeah.
And it does feel like she's just trying to move her that extra step wider, because she's picked up on something that you said about movement as well.
Just making her hit that extra ball, yeah.
Absolutely.
Or even moving around.
Good return. And that's a break for 4-love.
4-love. So this set is very quickly getting away from Elena.
Yeah. If she hasn't called the trainer, and I've completely made that up, which is possible, you wonder sort of what is going on if she's not struggling physically. I mean, it looks to me like she is, but
unless it's just minor, and it's so minor that she doesn't think that the physio can make any difference. I don't know. But again, if there was an issue, you would have thought the trainer and that communication occurred. You would have thought the trainer would have appeared during the last change of ends rather than.
I suppose, yeah. Sometimes it takes them a while, but it shouldn't this far into the tournament, does it? I suppose there's only like a couple of courts to.
They haven't the camera, which they did a couple of times in the Sakari match. They honed in on this ankle that was had a very small amount of taping on it. So small that I think I've seen it there before. Like, you know, it's almost like not quite more prominent with Andy Murray. You know, there's the thick sort of sock things that he's wearing. Yeah, Ghosty here going Steffi Graf. Okay, nice. Yeah, because Ghosty asked, "Can I have a current or pass?" I let him have a free one.
Oh yeah, of course. Steffi Graf's a great shout. I've got 2, if I can.
Yeah, sure.
And I have thought about the men's side, but actually no, I'm going 2 women. If I could just interview anyone, it would be Billie Jean King, just because she's like idol level to me, both on a tennis level and on a human level. So I would love to interview. And actually, my lecturer, one of my sports journalism lecturers, interviewed her a month or 2 ago, and I've never been so jealous of anyone in my life. So yeah, Billie Jean King. And then a bit of a out there one as well. I'd love to chat to Shea Su Wei.
Oh, okay. That's a nice out there one.
Yeah, I would love to talk to her, just because I think she's absolutely fascinating, both on and off court. I think she'd give a great interview.
13. In fact, it soon becomes 14. 14 of the last 16 points have been won by Azarenka.
And you're never worried about Azarenka becoming complacent. For me, I don't know. You know, like some players, you can get this real momentum. 5-love is a ridiculous scoreline, but I don't worry about Azarenka becoming complacent or taking anything for granted.
Ghosty, I have to pick you up on something here, and it's the use of the verb meet. Meet related to proximity, but also length of time, I think. I mean, walking past John McEnroe, for example, I said hello to. I did actually. So this adds to my John McEnroe meeting, if you like. I did at least say hello, and he said hello back, albeit it's like that. if you said hello, Ghosty, and you got a hello back, in fact, I'll even give you a nod. If you got a, and Billie Jean went, all right, or something, then yeah. But
yeah, I think the level of interaction for meeting people, the more famous or brilliant they are, the less you have to do to say you've met them.
okay, but what
You can
about
just
this?
have a little smile.
What about this comparison? Kira, ask me if I've been to Singapore.
Have you been to Singapore?
Yes, I have. Ask me for how long.
For how long?
2 hours at the airport.
Okay, but you've been to Singapore. I would argue you've been there.
Didn't pass through security.
Did you look out the window?
I mean, yeah, but I didn't
There we
touch
are.
soil, if you like.
I don't think I've touched the soil in many places I've been to.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you don't sort of bend down and do
I
it.
know what you mean, though. Right. What do we think? Are we seeing a bagel coming on here?
I feel it. I feel it.
I feel it.
I'm looking at a point on the screen, which is 1 point ahead of me because I'm just seeing Rybakina begin this.
Oh yeah, that's my point. That's a bit ahead of me as well.
Love 15. So.
Oh shit! That's not a good sign because she didn't even go for that. She didn't even try and get that on the love 15 point.
Yeah, and I don't see the taping on the ankle that I thought I saw, which was definitely prominent. Is too strong, but definitely noticeable the other day. So it might just be another part of the body. It might be she's just feeling a bit sick.
She didn't. I think she was sort of doing a lot of wiping of the brow, but obviously it's hot, so that's another way. But it looked laboured. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into things now. I think
laboured is probably the best way of saying it. And also that way we cover all bases because when she picks things up again in the third set, we can just go, well, she was laboured, but
she was laboured.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, that's wild. I'm just seeing Ghost say baguette. That brings me on to, do you call them baguettes or breadsticks?
Oh, breadsticks in tennis terms.
Yeah.
You too. I'm guessing he means breadstick too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, do I call the lengthy French sandwich which is in a hard form? Well, yeah. That's a baguette. I can't think of anything else I would call it.
I can't think of another word for that. No.
Yeah.
That's a good reason.
2 set points for Vika for that bagel.
Rybakina's just serving at 15:30 on mine, so I haven't seen the point yet. But she's on second serve.
Do you follow some of the a couple of the well-known eager fan, I guess, but what I mean is there's the Eagers Bakery account, and there's also Eager Out of Context, which I think has like 30,000 followers. Do you follow those two accounts?
I don't follow Eagers Bakery just because I sort of see if she's doing that anyway. So
yeah, that is done. There's kind of okay. It's quite funny at first, but the Ego Out of Context is a
Ego Out of Context is fun.
It's a Spanish girl who runs it, by the way.
She knows what she's doing. She does it so well.
Unbelievable, yeah. And Eager's interacted with it a few times as well.
Yeah, my favorite is Eager's Cats.
Oh, and that was from Out of Context, Eager, was it?
I think it was.
Okay, yeah, could well have been. Yeah, that was great. She responded to that too. I think
she's done 5 parts of that now as Eager as Cats. That's my favorite, just because it combines, 2 of my favorite things.
Cool.
I think it's fab. And she does get the bagel
because of a pretty horrible drop shot from Rybakina that was just set up very nicely.
Yeah.
And so we've got the bagel and we're into a third set.
She's going off court, Rybakina. Azarenka not going off court this time, but now that I've had to switch my stream, I've got adverts, so
yeah, I'm seeing Rybakina walk off court now as well. Yeah. She's got a troubled expression on her face that feels like it's more than that she just lost the set 6 love. And it went so quickly.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you remember the French Open men's singles final, which the first set was 6 love to Rafa, but it was the closest 6 love you've ever seen in your life. It was just, it wasn't quite 2021 levels of competitiveness, if you like, but there was so many juices and break points that it was, I think it was like a 45, 50-minute 6 love set, if you like.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
How close it was. That was
not that.
Once it got to 3 love, it was like, that's it. There was just sort of no 10 minutes on one side of the net. So we'll see if she can become reinvigorated by this break.
Yeah. I might mute myself just for a second when this comes back on my screen and just have a listen to the commentators briefly, see if they're mentioning anything about this possible injury or what they're thinking.
Yeah.
But it's not back yet.
Eagers, weegers. Very good, Ghosty. It could be a UN role for her upon retirement. I've got a comment here from Twitch saying it's terrible for Rybakina, so maybe this Twitch account maybe knows something that we don't, a bit more specific, but it does.
Yeah.
It was not it wasn't a pleasant set in many ways to witness, but no. I've also seen this before where a 5-minute break and, things are not so bad, particularly if it's something like, if it is, say, sickness, for example, that is something that can come and go.
It depends with Rybakina though, because of her ongoing illness issues.
Yeah,
that makes me more think it's something that might not go well. I'm just going to mute for a second and have a listen.
Mute. You mute and I'll talk. Meanwhile, Vic, of course, is in a very good position at the momentum swing that a 6 love set can provide. Oh, and you call it a donut, Ghosty, instead of a bagel as well. For those of you just tuning in, please do hit the like button, by the way. And if you are new to the channel, hit subscribe. We will have commentary on Alcaraz against Dimitrov later on. I know that Jerome is in the hot seat for that particular encounter. And we might do Alexandrova as well against Danielle Collins. Maybe with Andre and Isabel. Fingers crossed they can both do that one. Still got Elena Rybakina off court at the moment. Hopefully Kira will give us an update shortly on how that is, but stay muted for now and keep listening carefully. Swiatek's Shipwrecks, a primetime interview with Nick Kyrgios. Yes, Ghosty, that would be amusing. I like the rhyming, or is it alliteration? Is that Eagers Weegers, that alliteration? Anyway, you know what I mean. Whatever, play on words with that one. Albeit obviously a fairly sensitive case.
They're not suggesting anything. They're not. The commentators themselves, anyway, aren't talking about injury or illness or anything like that. They've just said Rybakina will be completely shocked by what's happened. She could be off court for a while. No suggestion of anything else.
Azarenka, it did sort of take her turn to go off court as well, but it's already returning.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so they're not mentioning, maybe they mentioned something before, but
exactly,
you would have thought still that would have been on the the nature of the commentary, though, throughout the break. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we're reading too much into that, and it was just a phenomenal set, and maybe Rybakina just felt like she couldn't live with her. But we'll see.
It's possible. I do think, you know, some credit to Azarenka is definitely due.
Yeah.
I thought she played brilliantly in that set, but I also would suggest that Rybakina wasn't particularly in it.
Maybe as well it gets to 3-love, 4-love, and she's going, I'm just going to save some energy here and recharge at the end of the set, and then. But there was the reason my tentacles got raised was once you said that she sort of spoke to the umpire, or there seemed to be an interaction with the umpire, and then the walkie-talkie occurred. But then, of course, there was no trainer thereafter. So
no, so let's be honest, I could have completely fabricated that. In which case, I'm very sorry. I just couldn't work out what else he would have been. You know, it was between points, not between games, that he was on the walkie-talkie. So it seemed like a weird time to be, if not calling for a trainer. But we'll see how long Elena takes here. She's not back yet.
she's, I think it's 5 minutes is the time allowance. I think we must be getting close to that.
Yeah, you think so?
I just saw Vika just went like this, almost as if she just hit a nice winner down the line. But the weird thing is, it's 6 minutes since she sealed the set or whatever.
She's just sat on her chair.
Yeah, she just sat on a chair. She ate a date or two, swigged a couple of sips of a drink, and then she just punched towards her team like this. Unless she's just got news that Elena's about to retire. Someone just whispered in her, Elena's coming back. Yes. I would love that. You know what would be funny? Is if she fell to the ground and celebrated. That would be a hell of a troll. Punched. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't even shake her hand.
Aeroplane around the place. That'd be awful.
Yeah. High-fiving people.
Well, Elena is coming back out on court, so and she's got changed, so I don't think she's got changed for retirement. I think she's got changed to play.
She's not done a John Terry, if you know what I'm referring to.
Don't think so.
Yeah, so we'll see. I guess the next couple of games will tell us everything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't rule out Rybakina coming back out perfectly as normal, back to first set, you know, abilities, and it's completely reset again. I wouldn't put that past her, but it feels a little bit unlikely. I don't know. It really felt like it fell apart in the second. But who knows?
So we'll obviously be keeping a close eye on the movement of Rybakina as we were in the previous set.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't try and go for the ball on the first point there, but I don't
No,
know.
I saw that, yeah. But it was a long way away from her.
That one I feel like that one's acceptable.
Yeah. But we've not, the good news is we're not seeing, she does look rather glum though. We're not seeing clutching at the shoulder or
No. Nothing like that. But I think Ghost said it earlier, you know, she can be so sort of stoic when she plays.
Yeah.
A lot of the time that I think if she was in pain or whatever it was, you wouldn't always know with Rybakina. But There is also, even balls that Rybakina is getting to at the moment, like the one at 30-15, sorry, where Azarenka hits the backhand down the line and Rybakina gets to it, but just sort of puts it in the net, and the shot's a bit ropey. It's not necessarily just the movement and the getting to shots that she's struggling with.
Sure, absolutely. Mind you, she's picked up things a little bit here to pick up a couple of points on the Azarenka serve, so we soon might be switching our narratives. We'll see.
Yeah, it feels like I haven't seen it yet, but this feels like it might be. Oh no, I thought it might be a double fault, but no, it's just a great return from Rybakina for 30-40.
Want to see an epic rally that Rybakina chases balls down and hits, and then a non, a fist pump or something. Fist pumps do mean something to me. I remember thinking, I'm coming back to that Rafa Danielle Australian Open final, but I remember seeing some fist pumps from him in the third set and thinking, okay, you don't fist pump if you think this match is done, if you're really tired, because you're down 2 sets to love and 3 all in the third or whatever. You're not fist pumping a winner if you think you're done. I mean, we saw with Daniel Medvedev in this year's final, for example, you could see him in sets 3, 4, and 5. Even if he was winning big points, it was difficult for him to get pumped because he just knew that he's struggling to get through this. And he was up 2 sets to love. Never mind if he was 2 sets to love.
Yeah. I suppose, Rafa's a bit of a different breed in general, isn't he? To be fair, but I agree with you in terms of in general.
When I'm a fan, I'm looking at that. I'm not looking at that for my player that I'm supporting. If I'm doubting them, worried about them physically, if I see them like, very happy to win a point, I'm like, okay, that's a good sign,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But Vika does get the hold. And of course, that is 7 games in a row for Azarenka.
It is. It'll be really. This is the one that's interesting to me. Is the first Rybakina service.
Agree. 28 minutes that second set.
Yeah.
There might have been a juice in there, but I don't even know if there was a juice in that second set either.
I can't remember, honestly.
It felt pretty quick anyway. I'm surprised it even lasted 28 minutes. I mean, you had a 4-hour encounter or 4-hour stream the other day that was actually 3 hours of tennis.
Yes, it did indeed. It didn't feel like 4 hours, apart from towards the end of the 4 hours, I think. It started to feel like 4 hours.
I get that.
I was only because I was hungry.
Yeah. Okay, just watching this point. Okay, and Rybakina wins it for 15 love. That was definitely a forced error, so that's a good sign. I can see the wind picking up. Has the wind been taken out of Rybakina's sails? Well, the first 2 points of this game suggest otherwise.
Yeah, if she can get a decent hold in here, then I think anything's possible. Just to break up that momentum. 7 games is so huge that you just want to stop that from carrying on. That's my favorite one so far. Iga's Ibiza. That's my favorite.
Okay, yeah, that's a little more upbeat as well in every sense of the meaning.
Not sure Ibiza would be Iga's scene. Just guessing.
Right, yeah, but that's what makes it in a way.
That might be what's brilliant about it. That might be the juxtaposition might create something amazing. Really nice hold from Rybakina to love there. Strong serve.
Yeah. What is EDM, by the way?
Electronic dance music.
See, you youngsters, Ghosty and you. Iga's Riga. Oh, I like that. Now that
That
does.
one's good too. That was good
Oh
too.
my goodness me! I mean, the Ostapenko bit as well. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. I would watch a TV show about that.
Iga's Riga, and it's probably like years after Iga retires, and she hangs out and drinks tea and gets her nails done with Elena as they reminisce about Elena's 13-0 record that she
I was
managed
going to
to
say
have.
100% record against
Yeah,
her.
right, over Riga. And on one of those 13-0 came in 1 year when Iga was going for the calendar slam. And Ostapenko, just to be typical Ostapenko troll, she beats her in round 3, but then goes out to Katie Bolter in round 4.
Poor Katie Bolter.
I
That would
don't
have
know.
been
It was just
my
at
last.
first, it couldn't be a top player, but yeah, I mean, we can go Elena Avanesian in round 4 if you like.
No, I understood you. In fairness, if I have to come up with a player that likes like that on the men's side, I always say Dan Evans, and I quite feel bad about
Dan
it.
Evans, yeah.
It's just who comes to mind.
Yeah, that's just too good, that one. Ghosty. Iga's Riga.
I've always thought, I don't know why the commentators don't play on the word eager more. I've never heard anyone like call her eager, as in Eager.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a bit too eager there. I feel like they should be doing that all the
Uh,
time.
and there's a gap in the market for sure.
Yeah, that's the gap that I'm hoping to fill, obviously.
Well, yeah, you just fingers crossed from your side. Nobody takes it.
I
You know,
shouldn't have, yeah.
I know you're sort of trying to copyright it right now, but Talking Tennis's audience isn't quite big enough to sort of have a stamp on it, I think.
Rats.
But just fingers crossed nobody takes it in the meantime.
Yeah, hope so. You see somebody doing that in the next, 5 years or so, then
Try and
they've
say
probably
that
stolen it from
you've
me.
stolen it, yeah.
Rybakina did have love 15 on the serve there. It felt like half a chance just because
Because of where we were, yeah.
beforehand, I think, but Azarenka's dealt with it well.
And a nice body serve there as well. She proceeds to hold. Where's your money right now?
It's a bit head and heart again. I still sort of think Rybakina could come back into it, to be honest. Part of me thinks I shouldn't count her out.
I'm going Azarenka, but just because of what I've seen in the last half an hour or so.
Yeah.
I mean, half an hour ago or an hour ago, there would have been very little doubt in my mind that Rybakina would go on and win the match. But I just feel as though right now it's Rybakina who needs to up things. And if we just see this, Azarenka's doing what she has to do, and that'll probably be enough. Albeit that there's some shoots of hope now, though, for Rybakina, how the first 3 games have gone.
Yeah. My accent, you say eager like eager. Oh, how else would you say eager? How would you say eager? As in Eager.
Yeah, I think I say it the same. I did struggle with her surname for a while. I'm sure I'm still not 100%, but I'm much closer than I used to be.
I think a lot of people have struggled with that. Yeah, my accent, general British, I suppose, with like occasional hints of Brummie, but I don't hear the Brummie in myself, but other people have told me that.
Okay, I don't think I've heard it. There might be a
No,
word or
I
two.
don't hear it.
Maybe you'll say something in the next few minutes that'll. Okay, but thus far I haven't heard it.
No.
There's a tennis player. I'm trying to think who it is who's eaten like Twix or something, on a can of Coke on a changeover. I think is it maybe Willis, the British guy?
Marcus Willis.
I think is he the one who's had a can of Coke and a Twix on a
It
changeover?
so could be. I actually interviewed him in November.
Oh, nice.
He was so fun. Honestly, such a fun guy to talk to, such a great guy to interview.
Okay, I bet. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if he did, but having spoken to him, I could definitely see that as a possibility.
If you didn't, Marcus, I apologize. But yeah, I'd love to have him on the show actually. Someday, maybe like a Wimbledon thing. I'll have to see. I don't know which year it was that he beat. Oh, sorry, not beat. Which year it was that he played Roger. But if there's
I
an
think it
anniversary,
was 17, but I'm not positive.
okay, feels like a bit longer than that ago. I'll have a look. I feel more like 13, but oh no, you're closer than me. 2016.
That's the one.
So 8-year anniversary is not quite round, but given the opportunity, I can't say, can you wait another 2 years?
No, I think he's got a really good chance, Marcus Willis, of being at Wimbledon this year. I'm really rooting for him.
Oh, to actually play?
Yeah, I'm really rooting for him. He's doing really well in the doubles.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. True. Yeah.
And if he can win a few more challenger doubles, if he can get himself into that top 100, then I think he should be playing at Wimbledon.
At least in doubles, Ghosty, yeah, he's doing some stuff. I've seen a few tweets from him and a few things. Rybakina here, by the way, 30-15, moving okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's doing really well on the Challenger Tour. He was sort of
yeah.
He won his first Challenger doubles in November, actually, just before I spoke to him, and he's since won a couple more in the first few months this year. So he's really on the up. His ranking, when I spoke to him, was at a career high of 165, and he's now 130 something. So he's rising very quickly. Got a good story, definitely.
And we have a game point for Rybakina. So again, sort of more shoots of hope for those of you keen to see her in the final.
Was that her first double fault the point before?
Oh, it might have been. What, first double fault of the match?
I think it was. I might be wrong.
It's impressive.
Can't picture her doing another one, but I'll check it.
It's a nice 1-2 as well to set up game point.
Oh no, her second actually.
Okay.
Match. Never mind.
I played tennis this morning. Indoors.
A game or just a practice?
Yeah, no, a match. Well, we didn't quite get to finish because of the time limit we had. I won the first set 7-5, and the second set I was 4-5 down. But it's just one game against a guy that I do generally beat.
So safe to say you would have.
I feel optimistic, especially. I mean, if we'd gone to the third set, definitely. But I might have lost that second set. We'll never know.
Try my best. I think he comes into our uni every year, so I'm very much hoping to do a sort of another interview with him soon to sort of talk about the progress since I spoke to him last as well. Nice. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Where's he from? I mean, I know he's British, but is he from London, is he, or?
Oh gosh, I can't actually remember where he's from. I know that he lives near me nowadays in Warwick, or at least coaches in Warwick.
Okay.
I can't remember where he's from.
No, we don't ghost it, at least not to the best of my knowledge in the American understanding of the community college tennis thing.
No. Slough, apparently, he's from.
Okay. Near Reading, yeah. So we've got a little chink of light here for Rybakina. So more shoots of optimism.
Yeah, she does look a completely different player than she did in the second set, obviously, but it's whether she's got enough to get that break or get that momentum back. That was very nice. In terms of university tennis goes to, I don't know about, I'm sure some of the more sporty unis have like a big tennis league. There is something called Bucks, which is where universities play sports in general against each other in leagues, and that's quite high level if you're in the top league of Bucks. They do tennis in that as well, which I again believe is a reasonably good level if you're in the top tier of university Bucks.
Some break points here for Rybakina.
Yeah, that backhand from Azarenka down the line was just a touch too much on it, went long. Sporty universities. I suppose I just think of certain universities being better at sport than others. For example, no offense to my uni, but we are not renowned for being very good at sport.
My uni was the same, yeah.
In general. Whereas like Loughborough is incredibly sport. Nottingham's very, very good at sport. Worcester's quite good at sport. Leeds, Bath is quite good at sport, stuff like that.
2 break points saved there, actually. One of them from a good serve with an unreturn.
Feels like Rybakina is returning better, as I say that, forehand dips wide, but feels like Rybakina's return of serve has got better again, I think, in this third set, sorry. Quidditch. I'm so sorry to tell you, but no Quidditch at my uni. And even if there was, it would be a whole town away, and I would not be able to get there.
Got a break point. I will have to leave after this point, so we'll see how this pans out. Nick said he can join if it goes another half an hour, so it'll be 9:30. Okay. But probably it'll be done by then. But you never know if it's an epic third set.
I think it'll be done by then.
I think it will be too.
Especially if Vika double faults again. That was a double fault to set up the break point. Five total not break points, double faults from Azarenka in the match. So couple more than Rybakina. Lovely ace from Vika though to save the break point.
So I have to depart. I will speak to you soon. Take care.
Thank you very much for joining, John.
Good luck, Kira.
Okay, we are back to Jews. I am a point behind still the scoreboard on the screen, but on my screen, we're back to Jews. Vika serves wide, gets another ace to set up the game point. That was nice. Is that 2 aces in a row? I might have miscounted that. As I keep doing, but I think that was 2 aces in a row. So good stuff from Vika. Serving now for 3-2. First serve goes long. Second serve goes long. It's another double fault. So that's 2 this game already. I do think the serve has been a little bit ropey on Azarenka's side. She's served aces as well, but it's just been inconsistent. I feel like Elena is just hanging on. Yeah, it does feel a little bit like she's hanging on to me. I think that probably changes if she can get a break here. It depends. Her face, she looks more zoned in to me than she did earlier. So that could be a good sign for Rybakina fans. Especially as she gets another break point here on the Azarenka serve. I'm not sure how many deuces we've had now in this game. So break point number 4 this is for Elena. Great body serve from Vika, followed up by a drop shot. I can't tell if that was not up or not, but either way, Azarenka gets the point. And we're back to deuce. I don't think Elena got to that drop shot. Maybe she did. No, I think she did actually. I thought maybe it bounced twice, but I think she got to it, but not well enough to stop Azarenka from putting it away. So deuce again. It's a real slog. Yeah, this is definitely a bit of a slog of a match. I mean, the second set was so quick and rapid, but it just felt like a bit of an anomaly in terms of the rest of the match. The first set was a slog, and this set is now. How long have they been playing? Give me a second. I'll wait until I can see the clock. There we go. 1 hour 51. Oh, break. Oh, you're ahead of me. Okay, let's see this break then. Azarenka serving Rybakina with the break point, and we do know what's going to happen, but let's see. She does, yeah, she really does look more dialed in when you look at her ready to return the serve. Vika, nice serve down the tee, gets a pretty easy backhand, but puts it in the net, and Rybakina gets the break. Oh, don't worry, guys, it's fine. The scoreboard's ahead anyway, so you're not spoiling anything for me, so it literally doesn't matter. Don't apologise. But yeah, Rybakina with the break, and that, I think she needs to consolidate it in the next game for me to feel like she's just going to go on and win the match. But like I said to John a little while ago, it did still feel like you couldn't count her out of this despite the complete change in the second set. I do still think Rybakina was more likely to come back in this third than not, and that's exactly what we've seen. So be interesting to see if she can hold here. I would give you some insight into them between points, but like I say, get adverts now, so I cannot, unless I try switching my stream, which I will try. Nope. Maybe they give her fluids in the locker room if you're sick. You run the risk. Yeah, that's really possible. Absolutely, it does look. It feels like something's got to have changed. I suppose it could be, you know, a momentum shift. You get that little break. You get to go off court. She could have regrouped, but it feels more likely that something has happened, like you suggest, I think, because she really didn't look right in the second set, to me, anyway. So we'll see if she can consolidate here. They're just coming back on court. Rybakina getting ready to serve at 3-2 with the break. Just got a glimpse of the crowd then. I felt like it looked pretty empty, actually. I don't know if I saw it wrong, but ace to start the game from Rybakina, which again is a good sign. I didn't see it wrong. Okay, well, it's not a very good crowd then. It's a shame for a match like this, I think, anyway. Azarenka really stepped into the return there on the Rybakina serve, but it felt like that was sort of against her because Rybakina can get so much length on that +1 forehand that she's just sort of backpedaling to try and get to it and puts it out. So mid-afternoon is a tricky sell. Yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? In Miami, people working and everything, it's struggle to get people into the stadiums, but it as Ghosties just said, it feels like the crowds in general haven't been fabulous to me. I don't know. It doesn't feel like they've been very full on most of it. But yeah, Jerry Seibock built definitely a bit different. Because I think in general, the South American support for South American players has been exceptional and a bit of an outlier, which is nice to see. So 30-15, Rybakina here on serve. And Vika steps in for the return again, which you sort of think, is she going to be able to get back for Rybakina, who goes down the line with her shot, but puts it long. So Vika is 30 all on Rybakina's serve. Bit of a look in here for a break back. Exchanging cross-court forehands in that point, but Rybakina gets very quickly bored of that and slots one down the line in very similar fashion to the one we were talking about in the first set, where it's just like she guides it exactly where she wants it, paints the line. Gorgeous ball to set up game point for Rybakina and consolidate her break and go 4-2 up, which would be quite impressive after the second set. And she does. Consolidates the break for 4-2. Absolutely brilliant from Rybakina there, I thought. And even to come back from just such a demolition in that second set is really impressive mentally and physically. But like you say, Ghost, it could be because of all manner of things that happened off court that we don't know about. Guaranteed time slots. I just don't know how that translates to big tournaments that need a lot of flexibility. Yeah. I don't know how they'd be able to do that. I don't even think they would be able to. There's just not enough time in the day to guarantee time slots for people, because how would they get through all the matches, particularly with all the delays we've had in the last 2 weeks? I mean, they'd never do it. So Azarenka back on serve here and 15 all. Important for her to hold here, of course, if she wants to stay in this match. Gets an ace for 30-15 as well. And she's still sort of, talking to herself, little fist pumps. So there's no way Vika thinks that she's out of this match. And she isn't, I would argue, as well. wins that point with a cross-court forehand, and then the biggest fist pump, I would say, of the match so far, even though that was a pretty straightforward point. So yeah, she's still pumped up. She still really wants to win this, Vika, and a game point for her on serve here. Great serve out wide, and takes it out of the air to make it 4-3. Now, at this changeover, we'll just take a short break.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
I don't know if you're already gone, Ghosty, but thanks for joining us. Great to have you in the chat as always. And we're back here with Rybakina's service game, where she wins the first point by coming to the net and putting away a volley. So 15-love for Rybakina on her service game. Be really interesting at the end of this match. I'm fascinated to hear from Rybakina herself about the second set and what she thinks happened, how she saw it, what she thinks went wrong. Vika stepped in to take on the return there with a strong backhand, but it just hits the net. She's unable to capitalise. If we can go into lockdown mode, and she might not be able to. Yeah, exactly. Elena's always got that in her. If she gets the break, if she serves well enough, there's nothing her opponent can really do about it. So it'll be interesting if we see that here. If it goes to 5-3, yeah, I think I'll be quite comfortable in thinking that Rybakina's got this now, which is quite some feat after the second set, in a way. Marcus just says Elena, full stop. Is that just a mark of how brilliant she is? That's how I'm feeling about it. $30-15 on this service game from Elena. Exchanging cross-court forehands. Elena switches to the backhand, and now they exchange backhands. Azarenka comes into the middle and tries to go for the inside-out forehand, but it just creeps wide. So Rybakina 2 game points here for 5-3. Great show. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Don't tell me it's gone downhill since John left, though. I don't want to hear it. Only joking. Only joking. Yeah, Azarenka's starting to look a little bit frustrated here, which you can understand. I mean, she would have thought she had total control after that second set, but Elena's come out with a very different idea in the third. A let on the Rybakina serve there. That's why it's taking a while for this point to get going. And she puts the first serve out. So second serve to look at for Azarenka. Is she going to step in and go for the big return again? Yes. And she misses it again, unfortunately. Backhand across, but just goes wide. So Elena now 5-3, 1 game away from making it to the final of Miami for the second year in a row. In very different circumstances, I feel, to last year's Miami Open, where, you know, she just won Indian Wells. She comes into Miami. You think she might struggle after winning Indian Wells. She gets to the final and then obviously loses to Petra, but such a great few weeks for Rybakina last year. And she'll be hoping to make the final. But Azarenka will still have something to say about it as she starts to serve. And a good first point from her to make it 15-love. Serving again. A let on Azarenka's first serve. So just sets herself up again. And we've just passed 2 hours on the clock here. So yeah, it's been 3 sets, but because that second one was quite short, it's not yet become a super long match that could hinder anyone in a final. Azarenka on a second serve here. Exchanging those cross-court forehands again, pushes Elena wide. Was that in? She hits the cross-court backhand, and I think it's just drifted wide. Yeah, 15 all. And that's the sort of shot that in the second set Azarenka would have made without issue, but feels like the pressure's on in this third, and she's struggling to make some of those big shots that she was making look very effortless in the second. Another second serve here for Azarenka. I'm just going to look at the service stats. Great length on the return from Rybakina. She comes into the net. Got an overhead, which she doesn't take care of. So Azarenka comes into the net. Oh gosh, that was really great reactions there from Azarenka. A bit of a net exchange, and Azarenka comes out on top for 30-15. Yeah, so in the match as a whole, Rybakina's on 54% first serve, Azarenka 67, well, 68 now. But so yeah, I suppose part of that is the pretty poor second set from Rybakina. Must be bringing that down quite a lot. But yeah, it's not been the best service performance from either, like we know they're capable of, I suppose. And Azarenka gives herself 2 game points to ensure that Elena will have to serve out this match if she wants to win it straight away. Another let first serve from Azarenka, becoming a bit common. Strong serve from Azarenka, good length on it, just catches Rybakina off guard and makes it 5-4. So Elena will be serving for the match here. And it will be interesting. You know, I think she probably will pull it off if I had to guess. I don't really see her faltering here. I think that break relatively early in this third set is probably going to be good enough for her to take it, just because, you know, her service games are strong enough for that. Obviously, other than the second set, which is just now just completely alien to what we're seeing from Elena Rybakina in the third. So it's hard to really compare her performances between sets because it's just completely different from everything else we've seen. Alien indeed. Yeah, an outlier. Yeah, that's a really good word. Yeah, alien was all I could think of. But outlier, yeah, completely. It's really interesting. Like I say, I've said it already, but I'm just so interested to hear how she explains that second set, whether she says she was feeling ill or she just completely lost the run of things. I don't know anymore. Obviously, she called the trainer stick was completely wrong. So be interesting. Rybakina favourite if she makes the final. For me, yes. Yeah, especially coming through whatever she's sort of come through here. I do see her having the making of Alexandrova or Danielle Collins. It's a good job Ghost isn't here anymore. He wouldn't like me saying that, but yeah, I think I'm going for, if she can serve this out here, yeah, Rybakina to win the tournament for me. And it will be a really good tournament win for her, I think, you know, with her health issues recently, which obviously we don't know much about and we're not entitled to, in my opinion. But, you know, I think it's really nice to see her take a tournament back to it and show that she can come back really strong. But she has to serve out this game first, obviously, not counting Vika out. Only a fool would count her out, especially as Rybakina puts that first forehand long to make it love 15, give Azarenka an outside chance here. And she is, Azarenka, as always, still fist pumping, still absolutely in it in this match, looking fierce as she gets ready to return this serve from Rybakina, which is what we love about her. That return goes long, so we go to 15-all. Really strong first serve there from Rybakina to make it 30-15. I'd like to see how how fast that one was, actually. That looked pretty quick. There's a lot of photographers just on my image right now, ready to capture the moment if she does make it to the final. We're exchanging backhands in a rather long rally now. Azarenka switches onto Rybakina's forehand and she goes for the down the line, but it just drifts wide. So 30 all here. And this match might not be over quite so easily as we thought. Vika has always got something to say. She's doing some really strong... I'm not going to imitate it because nobody enjoyed that, but she's doing some really strong breathing. Azarenka just getting herself into the zone. Try and set up a break point here rather than a match point. Rybakina serving. Serves down the tee. Oh, I thought that was an ace. But it just drifted out. Oh, the replay, it really was close. That was nearly an ace to set up match point. But she serves a second serve. Great length from Vika. And she gets the break point. Rybakina can't get her backhand over the net. And we've got a break point for Azarenka here to prevent Rybakina from serving out the match. Be interesting what serve Rybakina goes for here. Try and stop that from happening. And naturally she gets the ace. And just like we were talking about earlier, you know, in those tense pressure moments, you do sort of always feel like Rybakina has got a serve up her sleeve that can get her out of trouble, and that's exactly what she does there. An ace to bring it to deuce. Second serve to look at. Vika going for the strong backhand return again, once again, and into the cross-court forehands. Rybakina switches down the line. Azarenka makes the lob, and they're back on cross-court backhands. That lob really looked like it was going out from Azarenka, but it's not, and they are on cross-court forehands. And Rybakina tries to get a better angle, push Azarenka wide, but she sends her forehand far too wide, and Azarenka has another break point here, and she's trying to get the crowd involved. She's trying to get them to get on her side a little bit here, get her over the line and make this match longer. So break point number 2 in this service game for Viktoria Azarenka. That must be a let first serve. So she's just getting herself all set up again. Azarenka kind of shanks the return really high, but Rybakina struggles to take it out of the air. Has to go for a sort of backhand. Oh gosh, I just hit something behind me. A backhand lob, but dumps it in the net. And Azarenka has broken back here to extend this match and make it 5-all. Really impressive play from Azarenka there, more than anything mentally for me. She came into that game and she looked completely different. She looked intense. And she was fist pumping, getting the crowd involved, you know, trying to say to people, I'm not letting this go this easily. Yeah, that's what Vika can do. She definitely delivered. So serving now Vika at 5-all to try and take this to a tiebreak. I suppose. Or I suppose she could break Rybakina again on the next one, but I think her main ask here, like you say, John, is to consolidate this break, make it 6-5, and then see what she can do. She needs to hold here, big time. And again, asking for more from the crowd. She wants their support. She thinks she deserves it for this comeback in the third set as she goes 15-love up. oof, puts a bit too much on that backhand. I think, you know, she's so in this match now. She looks completely locked in, that she's so intense. She's going for everything, and that felt like she didn't need to put quite so much on that backhand and give Rybakina a shout here. So 15 all. First serve into the net, so Rybakina, a look at a second serve. She'll want to make the most of this. Just as important, obviously, for Rybakina to try and get this break back if we're going from Elena's side of things. They do some cross-court backhands in that point. Elena with a nice shot to switch it to Azarenka's forehand, and she doesn't have an answer. So 15-30 here on Azarenka's serve. She's still geeing herself up. So you know, she's not out of this until it's finished. Evening, Jerome. Yes, I think it's now, we can safely say it's my fault for being part of them. Clearly, something to do with me here, because this has been a long one once again. Not quite as long as the other night, because their technology is working, thank goodness. Azarenka there for 30 all, so trying to snuff out that brief glimmer of hope for Rybakina of a breakback. Again, she's really going for the backhand at the moment, and it works. Rybakina tries to go down the line with it, drifts wide, and Azarenka with a game point to make it 6-5. And put the pressure on Elena again, or Elena's serve at least. Azarenka's serving now. Exchanging those cross-court backhands again. Elena tries to move Azarenka wide, but she gets there, and the resulting down the line backhand from Elena goes long. So Azarenka, 6-5 up in this third set, 2 games in a row, consolidates her break back. And all pressure now is on Elena, who is serving to stay in this match. Total shift in momentum. Fascinating to watch. This has been a really good match. Obviously, second set, like we say, completely alien, complete outlier. But this third set has been a battle. If you're still here, Jerome, very sorry about your Carlos prediction not quite coming to fruition, or the Hurkacz one. But the other two, in fairness, you got 2 out of the 4 quarterfinals, didn't you? And I got the other 2. So we're equal on that front. I would never troll anyone, John. Never. Exactly. I have saved it because we were pretty equal on those quarterfinals. It was just the prediction for Musetti to beat Carlitos that I had to do a little bit. You jinxed me. This is just as public forum as Twitter is. You spoke it into the world. I just extended that reach to mostly Nick. Did someone say Grigory's Carlitos tonight? Now, to me, though, to be fair, that feels more likely than the Musetti one. I still don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's more likely than Musetti beating Carlitos. So I'm looking forward to that match if I can possibly stay up for more than a set of it. Somehow I doubt that, but I'll try my best. Right, Rybakina has just started this service game with an unreturned serve. So a good start for Elena on a big pressure game. Good serve again. 30-love for Elena, and it looks likely that we might be going into a third set tiebreak here. I really don't know how to call that one. Yeah, 40-love. This is likely to be a pretty easy hold for Elena to take us to a tiebreak. Jerome's hoping so, rooting for Elena. I get it. It's difficult. I was definitely rooting for Elena to sort of come back into this match in the second set, because that was quite difficult to watch. And I do really like her as a player, but this comeback at the end of the third from Azarenka is quite something, quite compelling. But really strong hold there from Rybakina to take us into the elusive third set tiebreak, which could go either way. I think, Azarenka's got the crowd, and she's going to keep making sure the crowd cheer for her, whether they want to or not, I think. So that could help her, but Rybakina, in terms of her serving and everything, I don't know. So Azarenka to serve first in the tiebreak. And immediately loses the mini break. So Rybakina gets an immediate mini break in the tiebreak. Nick, hello.
What did I miss?
So much. Most of it.
I've literally just walked in the house.
Oh no. Oh gosh.
So I have literally not watched this match.
Perfect. So Rybakina was serving for it at 5-4 in this third set. Azarenka broke back, and we're now in a tiebreak.
Oh, the ultimate drama of tennis.
Absolutely.
This looks like a very odd match, it has to be said.
Yeah, it's been really bizarre. That second set, just totally alien, outlier, ridiculous. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, was that? I don't know. We'll probably need to focus on the match, because Rybakina is still Rybakina's raced to a 3-love lead in this tiebreak. I'm going to let you commentate, and I'll react.
Yeah, another ace for Rybakina there, which she has been doing so well all match and always, really, to race into 3-love. As I said at the beginning of the tiebreak, because her serving has been so strong, I'm not even counting the second set because I don't know what happened, but mostly her serving has been so strong that it feels like Azarenka would struggle in a tiebreak situation here. But we'll see if she can hold her 2 serves before we...
So you're saying that, so I'm taking it Rybakina just went walkabout for a set.
Yeah, I mean, me and John really thought she was injured.
Yeah, because she was talking about potentially her ankle being a problem going into this match.
Yeah, and the movement didn't look right in the second set. And then we sort of thought, actually, does she look maybe ill? She sort of looked laboured, was the word we used for a bit. But she went off court and came back to her first set self. So, bit of a strange one.
I should sort herself out then.
Azarenka does manage to hold her first serve here for 3-1. But she's on a second serve to try and hold and stay in this tiebreak.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a rally. Oh,
might be having an effect here.
Yeah, she's looking a little bit fed up with herself after that. Is this the first time Azarenka's won a set against Rybakina?
I don't think I know that off the top of my head.
Because I know their head-to-head's like 4-love or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know if she's won a set or not, though. It's a good question.
Well, she has now.
Sorry?
Well, she has now.
Yes, that's true. In quite decisive fashion. Although this tiebreak seems to be getting away from her. She's now 4-1 down. With
decisive word for it after that ace from Rybakina.
Yeah.
Was it an ace or was it an unreturned serve? Either way, practically 3 point.
Yeah. It's basically the same, and an unreturn for 5-1. Yeah, it was always going to be a tough ask in a tiebreak against a Rybakina who can serve so well in the big moments and has done in this match, apart from in the second set, which again I'm not counting.
I mean, by the look of it, she didn't even serve at the second set.
No, it didn't. It felt like she wasn't really. It felt like she wasn't really playing. Yeah, as I said it a couple of times earlier. I'm so intrigued to see how she sees that second set, how she explains it.
Yeah, well, she's got to finish this third set first. 5-1 is not insurmountable. That's a very short second serve that Azarenka is now taxing into a rally now. But forehand cross court from Azarenka is wide though, and Rybakina holds that point. Azarenka is now serving 5 match points down.
And it's a bit. It'll feel like a real shame for Azarenka because she fought so hard to come back into this third set, 5-4 down. Did really well to consolidate that break for 6-5, and it's just completely gone away from her in this tie break really quickly.
All right, tell us about the closing moments of this match. I'm not here to hijack it. You've taken us this far. See us to the end, Kira.
I think I'm well behind you, but Azarenka's just stepping up to serve 1-6 for me.
Okay, right, yeah. So I've just seen her miss the first serve. So
yeah, she's not even tried yet. Here's the first serve. Yeah, drifts wide.
I've seen how the point turned out. No spoilers.
Oh, I'm not looking at you. Steps into the second serve. Hooks the forehand cross court, goes back down the line to try and move Rybakina about, and then goes behind her and takes the point for 6-2.
Still fighting. Vika's still fighting. You wouldn't expect anything less.
Always.
That's why she's still here, aged, what, 34 now?
Think so, yeah. No mean feat. Match point number 2 for Rybakina. Azarenka serving, first serve into the net. Second serve into Rybakina's forehand. They exchange cross-court forehands sort of through the middle of the court. Rybakina goes wider and gets the match. 7-2 in that tiebreak. She fought so hard, Azarenka, to come back into the third set at all, but Rybakina far too strong in the tiebreak, and particularly when serving. So goes into the final.
Which shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, generally, at least one of the top 4's made the semi-finals of every big tournament so far. Yeah, okay, bit weird that Iga didn't make the Dubai final, but yeah, Elena still kind of flying the flag for the top of the top 4 of the women's game right now, despite that some sort of bizarre second set performance, which, as you said, we're looking forward to. I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, Kira. I wasn't expecting much from Rybakina going to this tournament. I didn't think that, I knew she was ill and not injured, but that was still, I still wasn't sure like how match rusty she would be, where she was at. And yeah, she's just stormed through this draw like nothing was wrong.
Yeah, weirdly enough, actually, I normally would be with you a lot of the time when Elena's pulled out of tournaments with illness. I've sort of always then predicted her to not do well in the next one, but I've sort of got used to her coming back like nothing's happened. So I did actually predict her to get to the final of this one. I didn't predict her to win the whole thing, but I did predict her to get to the final. And I just think it's because, she has had setbacks in terms of the last year, in terms of illness and pulling out of tournaments and some injuries and that sort of thing. But it never seems to last very long with her, or at least linger, I think, with her as it might do with other players. She does seem to bounce back. And yeah, I think it's an impressive quality to have, and it's part of the reason why she stays up in the top 4.
I was going to say she's cruised through this draw like nothing was wrong. I should clarify, she has played 3 sets in almost every match apart from against Keys, which is the one match apart from, I've watched this one, obviously the end of it, the tiebreak, but the Keys one, she looked a step above Keys, and I was like, okay, maybe she's had a bit of after a rough start, she's kind of getting there, but she has had to battle her way through. Don't think it's injury related or illness related. I think it's just how tough her draw's been.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever happened in the second set today was nothing to do with the rest of her draw, where, like you say, she's just had to really fight to get through it. The Sakari match, obviously, previously, where maybe there was a small movement issue there, but I don't think it hindered her enough for that to be a factor. I think she just had to really battle to get past Sakari. She's battled really hard today against Azarenka, who obviously was also fighting really hard. But in the end, she's her level of tennis at the moment is just slightly better than Vika's, and that won out in the end.
Azarenka, 4 years since she won a title, and that was in the New York warm-up Masters in 2020. And that was by default because Osaka withdrew from the final. So the last time she converted a championship point was here in Miami 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you see her winning another title in her career?
I do. Yeah, I really do, actually. The tennis that she's been playing this year, I actually see her winning a title this year. If it's going to come, I think it's going to come pretty soon. I don't know how long, age might get in the way, the amount of time she's got left on tour. But I think she's playing some really good tennis at the moment. She came across Rybakina today, who is obviously, along with a couple of others on the tour, a level above most people. I think, other than that, I do think Azarenka, whether the draw might favour her in some sort of tournament or whatever it is, I do think she could definitely win a title this year.
Yeah, I would say the signs are positive. Yeah, I agree that she's been playing sort of top 20 level tennis. Definitely top 30, I'd say top 20. She's got to get herself back in there. Yeah, it's just a question of how she matches up with the biggest players now. And, there's been a lot of discussion around that. But I don't see why not. If she's in the right tournament, the right draw, yeah, she should win it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got one half of the Miami final sorted, and it's going to involve Elena Rybakina for the second year running. Who are you fancying for her opponent, Alexandra or Collins, from the other semi-final?
Oh, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and it's such a head versus heart one for me. But I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna be as gutsy as I think Danielle is, and I'm gonna go. I think Danielle Collins might make the final this evening.
Interesting, because my head's telling me Danielle Collins because she's charged her way through this draw.
Really?
Yeah. Danielle Collins for me has charged her way through the draw. I'm like, yeah, Alexandrova's beaten Swiatek and Pegula. And those are 2 really good wins. And so maybe, if you look at like the opponent level, she should make it. But Collins is winning the kind of is dominating the sets that she's playing. I'm interested to see what kind of challenge Alexandrova throws at her. But yeah, if I just look at draw progress, Collins might be my title favorite.
Oh, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. No, I really love Elena Rybakina as well, but I think just, there's so many people in the world at the moment rooting for Danielle Collins. I mean, last year on the tour, it would be amazing to see her win a title. I think for me, yeah, she has absolutely been dominating the draw. I think I watched her match against Cara Garcia, and even though the scoreline was 6-2, 6-3, I think Danielle said herself that wasn't necessarily representative of the game as a whole. She did have to kind of slog it out. Was Garcia at her very best, especially with her return game? No. I still think Danielle played really well. I think if Alexandrova brings the level that she brought to the Iga and Pegula matches, she's going to be really tough to beat. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. And yeah, overall, I am going to go with Danielle Collins to make it.
There we go. We'll go Danielle Collins versus Elena Rybakina potential final. I mean, Alexandrova wouldn't be a disappointment, it has to be said. I think that a final for her would probably capitalize on the talent that we know she has.
Yeah.
So yeah, would not be a surprise. I'm just
No.
basing this on kind of the way things have kind of fallen, the way Danielle's kind of gone through the draw. But we'll have to see how that works out. Right. Well, I've just come in and sort of just lazily joined you for a tie break.
Not lazy at all. Thank you very much for saving everyone from me just talking to myself.
I find that difficult to believe, but we will have to, I think, maybe wrap it up there. Yes. All right. Okay, fine. We can discuss. I have a feeling I'm about to get hauled in for disciplinary for lateness. Yeah. So if this is my last stream, then it's been fun.
It's been so fun. Yeah.
Hopefully not. I will be back for future streams. In fact, I'm planning on hopping on in an hour to do the beginning of Alcaraz versus Dimitrov.
Lovely. I might join you for a bit of that, not on the stream, but while I watch the first set before I inevitably fall asleep.
How can Carlos Alcaraz's tennis? How can you fall asleep watching Carlos Alcaraz play tennis?
I am just a very tired person.
Fair enough.
No, I know what you mean. It might keep me awake. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully some of you will stay awake through our commentary as well. And,
that will help. That will definitely help.
All right. Well, this has been fun. I feel like a fraud signing off. So, Kira, do you want to do the honors?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all our social channels. And yeah, as Nick would normally say when he signs off, make sure you keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.